2020, it takes us a couple of minutes to get this bad boy up to speed. This planet is in for a shock. And we've been covering this since around the 25th of January. And what we're about to see is the planet's going to shut down. Most schools won't open at least until next year. There's incredible, disturbing news come out over the last few days. And so the show tonight is going to be covering news from Thursday to now, which is Sunday night. It's 9 p.m. we're on to. We're seeing the planet literally shutting down. Every community, every country shutting their borders. Airplanes are disappearing. People that won't get on trains or buses. And there's ordinances for a lot of places that you can't gather. Some places as little as 5 people, I noticed in the media today. One of the American politicians is calling for $1,000 a month for every American so they can try to take care of themselves. It's called a universal income. And we're seeing other countries are already doing it now. And it's most likely Canada will do it. Any country that can afford to do it most likely will do it. $1,000 a month for every American. It's not enough, but it's something, right? And the infected people are not showing symptoms, but they're infecting everybody else. Incredible studies now showing that 5 months or 5 weeks after you're cured, you're sent home, you're still infectious. So everywhere you cough or spit and that stuff can live on surface for up to 9 days. We're seeing all the big corporations way behind the 8 ball on this one. It's horrifying. This is way worse than people are. Literally, if you don't come to my site and catch these shitty, desperate broadcasts, you're going to be really not very informed at all. Super important right there. Ohio governor says schools may not open again this year. Well, what's going on? There's such a latency period in you discovering whether you're sick or somebody else is. It's not like you can see them with a red nose and red cheeks or something, and coughing, and they look completely normal. And this is devastating, not just to senior citizens. And there's not enough tests to go around at all. So you can't see people. It's a long latency. They're sick for long after if they survive it. And there's not enough tests. So we don't know the real numbers. And so most likely everything on the planet, assume everything on the planet is infected because they are. There's not enough test kits. And every day they're learning something new. And what's going on is that a lot of, there's not a lot of people like me, but because I'm straight up, I don't have an agenda. My agenda is to bring you the news, whether it's kind of pointless if I'm censored, right? But I gotta try. Prisoners to be released. This is the second time we've seen this. That's in the UK. When you see stuff like this, because that's what we live in, a prison population, When you see that they're releasing the prisoners, you know we're in real trouble. It means we're in real trouble. And if you follow this site at all, then you know that I've been covering. And now, what I'm going to show you tonight is an absurd amount of documentation, but it's just a fraction of what I have read in the last 3.5 days. I can't possibly bring everything to you, but I live, eat, breathe, and sleep this 24/7 since January the 25th. And I provide the documentation at my site. There's no one on the planet we can turn to. So I had to create my own media a long time ago to have somewhere where there's someone was being honest, was doing the work, was documenting everything and sharing it so everybody can make their own decisions. And you get another kick at it again tonight. But we're in real trouble. This planet's in real trouble. And within a week or 2 weeks, we're going to be locked down the entire planet. That's not an opinion, by the way, because the evidence is overwhelming, see? As you'll see again tonight. Spotswood Police, we've seen this over and over, where police departments are not going to go to property crimes. They're going to ask you to call in. They're going to stay away from you. No criminal mischief, thefts, harassment, etc. May not respond to your home. So prepare to defend yourself. You're now being abandoned. The prisoners are being released, and the police are not going to respond to crimes. It's time to take it serious. Put your bigotry and your prejudice and your bias aside. I would like to create, to be able to raise enough money to get a studio so I can do this constantly as this escalates over the next 2 weeks. And the way I see it, I got about a week or 2 weeks to raise the money to pull this off. In 2 weeks' time, it won't matter if you got the money. The place will be locked down. You won't be able to do nothing. And so I was hoping 1,000 people would donate $100. I can set up the studio in the next week and have that operational, own it. There's no way to get rid of me, and we can all ride this out together. If you get sick and you feel you're going to die, put me in your will. If you got a couple of houses, sell one and try to donate something to me. Try to make this happen. You won't regret it, and I won't let you down. And I've been at this for many years. And if you think there's somebody else out there that's better than me, then let's donate to them. I can't find anybody as honest as I am and does the work that I do. Police will enforce new restrictions on public life, the government said, threatening fines for non-compliance if you don't stay in your homes. Australia banned gatherings. I must have accidentally jumped there. Hang on. Oh, yeah, there you go. Australia just banned gatherings of 5 people. Do you get the significance of each of these stories? It's terrifying. Police will enforce new restrictions on public life, but they're not going to go to crimes on your property. They're not going to go to harassment crimes against you personally. If they catch you out there breaking their laws, do you get what's happening here? And Austria only has 800 cases and 2 dead, and they're locking down their citizens. An important facet of this is it attacks healthy cells in your lungs. This is extraordinary. This is not something that Mother Nature's created. Italy coronavirus death rises 25% to 1,800. That was yesterday's. It risen different again today. So the death rates rose by 25%. So to 1,800. So instead of saying 370 new cases, which is what that headline should say, no, it's 25%. As if 368 dead people in one day from this virus doesn't really matter, that doesn't warrant the urgency to put that as a headline. Lots of examples of that coming up. So incredible numbers. These are Italy is done. Italy ran out of infrastructure, but this is only like a week, but it's already ran out of respirators and hospitals and everything else. They already, as I showed you last week, abandoned senior citizens. They're not going to try to help them. Just the young, dumb gamers will get saved. The country's Civil Protection Authority. Think about that statement. The country's Civil Protection Authority is only going to protect the young. They're not going to protect the people that vote and pay taxes and built the country. They're going to protect the young, dumb, stupid, bird-brained video gamers who has contributed nothing to the country and are arrogant and to all the senior citizens. Have nothing but contempt for them. Wouldn't hold a fucking door open for them. That's the ones they're going to save, not the people that built the country. And the numbers, see how they disguise the numbers? Oh, 24,700 from 21,000. So why not just come out and say the numbers? We're close to the moment where we have no more intensive care beds. Do you get it? How bad this is? And what they've done to you for the last couple of weeks, how they manipulated you and lied to you and left you unable to fend for yourself when they finally, just out of the blink of an eye, they shut down your community. You have no way now of fending. You have no way, and you're stuck with their news, not real news like I bring you. Authorities have been working to set up hundreds of intensive care beds, but they ain't got respirators. They don't got qualified personnel, and they ain't gonna have them. The whole world is scrambling for the same material. Italy's chilling warning to the world. Don't do what we did. It was too late. Describe how Italian doctors are forced to make heartbreaking decisions about who to save, while hospitals use tents as makeshift wards. Who to save? Only the young and dumb get saved. Just last week, the European country has a well-funded healthcare system that would never turn anyone away from a hospital. Now, intensive care units stretched to their capacity. Doctors are being forced to make impossible decisions over who to treat. Saying the situation is just like in wartime, overwhelmed hospitals are being forced to put up tents. Cargo containers are used as triages, surging numbers of patients, but there's nowhere to put them. There's no more respirators, so everybody else will die. This is just starting, and it's about to skyrocket in a week or two. Some ill patients unable to access medical treatment are dying in their homes. And in a matter of days, the system was being felled by a virus that him and many other Italians had failed to take serious, which is what I'm telling you, to take this serious. And I might sound a little arrogant saying, help me raise the money to get a building to come back and do what I'm doing all the time without any worry. So we know I'm not going to go away because we know I got this incredible legacy of doing what I'm doing. I don't want to work myself to death for something to do. Is we need somebody out there that's going to be honest. We can build this operation, but we need to get in second gear. We are running out of time. The European country hardest hit by the outbreak with more than 21,000 confirmed cases in this one spot. You think about it, that's nothing. That can triple and quadruple in less than a few days. Anyone who breaches the lockdown faces up to 3 months in jail. It's coming to everybody. Israel is doing 5 years in jail for breaking quarantine. China's giving you 7 years in jail for breaking quarantine. You really think they're not going to do it where you're to? Data scientists have said the epidemic in Italy is 10 days ahead of Spain, Germany, France, and 13 to 16 days ahead of UK and US. So in less than 2 weeks, Spain, Germany, France, and UK and United States are going to fall. They're going to look just like Italy. And Italy has ran out of everything. There's no more respirators, no more hospital beds. And they really don't, when you look at it, they actually don't have a lot of cases. So what's going to happen as this explodes, which is, there's no way to stop it. They're doing everything to keep everybody dumb. They got me censored. No one's finding me randomly. It's horrifying that Google, Facebook, and Twitter are intent upon silencing any dissenting opinion whatsoever. That is horrifying. They're just got a company where people can post. They're not gods. They're not intelligent people. They just got a website. That's all it is. And they're willing to do that to everybody? It's a sickness that is unbelievable, that is jeopardizing everybody's future, everybody's immediate future. It's horrifying. And the writer who has been working from home says the situation could be avoided if drastic actions had been taken sooner and that it didn't have to come to this. The way to avoid or mitigate all of this in the United States and elsewhere is to do something similar to what Italy and Denmark and Finland are doing, but without wasting the few messy weeks in which we thought a few local lockdowns, cancelling public gatherings locally, and encouraging working from home would be enough to stop the spread. We now know that wasn't nearly enough. And I can guarantee you, every country worldwide is about to take that step. They're stealing all the resources from themselves. It's the only reason they're waiting. Hundreds of scientists accused the government in the UK. There's no such thing as a scientist anymore. We proved that on my site. They're public relation firms. And it's very difficult to trust them ever again. Hundreds of scientists accuse government of risking lives by not locking down the country. And it's barely taken off. Right? It's barely taken off in that country. Looks like I jumped all the way down. Wait for it. I gotta go hunting for that now. There it is. So within a few days, it's going to explode. But dozens of thousands, which is a stupid way to use that term, right? It's just a tiny fraction of what's actually going to be sick in that same time frame, right? They don't have the kits to test. There's a latency before symptoms show up. And the people are disarmed and don't understand the danger. France on lockdown. France is on lockdown with shops closing and people urged to stay inside. Whenever you hear the word urge, it comes usually with a fine in prison. The Prime Minister has also ordered people to work from home and only go out to vote in elections. Spain to close the borders as their case has risen by 1,500 today. These are incredible numbers. When they confirm 1,500, you got to multiply that by dozens of thousands. No pun intended. Coronavirus cases in Spain have risen by 1,500 to 5,700, public health officials claim. And then death toll. Now, this is Yahoo. This is a prime example of disarming the population because the average person is not going to struggle with their math. So the total number of cases went from 17,660, which is what you should have put there first, right? To 21,157. Not backwards. Because what they should have put there was cases rose by 3,500 in 24 hours. Now you get it, right? Now, because a lot of people can't do the basic math, right? So they're not going to try. It's disgusting Yahoo, despicable, which is being pumped out by Facebook and Google and Twitter. Right, so they give you backward numbers and they don't give you a tally. It gets worse. The number of patients in intensive care, which means you're on respirators, fighting for your life, against the previous 30. So they put the numbers backwards again. So the numbers would have been 190. They don't even put the numbers there. You think they're doing that because they're stupid? Or they're trying to keep you stupid? Intensive care was actually 190. How hard is it to say that number rather than put the numbers backwards? So instead of saying went from 1,328 to 1,518, they put it backwards. And they don't even put the numbers there. That should horrify everybody on this planet. The death toll in Italy, coronavirus outbreak, rises to 1,441, up 14% from 1,266, without putting a number there. Why not put a number there? 175 people died yesterday in a 24-hour period. Why not put that number there? Why do the numbers backwards? Why so dark, I wonder? Why so hateful? Why so unwilling to be a journalist? Because that's what we dissolved, and there's people that call themselves journalists, but they can't prove it anymore. And if you can, they should get their money back. New studies suggest coronavirus can live in patients for 5 weeks after the contagion. 5 weeks after. Which is what it was like with SARS, was 4 weeks. So it's not like somebody didn't know this was possible. Why did they wait till now? Well, they only wanted to tell the government, officials, the people you hired to protect you, stuff like this. And then they don't say it to you because they feel they're going to lose power if they tell you the truth. Like, it's so bizarre, so seems so unreal, surreal. You can understand why we're going to lose the planet, because all we have is goblins to turn to. And then people like me are going to get disappeared. We're going to get pushed out. This is why I'm fighting to raise enough to get a real studio. We can raise a little and get a studio, but we should raise enough and do it right and have the money to keep it operational, yeah? And I'm in a place where I can do that. All I can do is say, thank goodness I done what I done and came across Canada on a bird count and tried to do expeditions here on the East Coast. Thank goodness. Thank goodness I done what I done. And in the next 2 weeks you'll understand that. Now I can live for 5 weeks after you're cured. So you're never cured. Because you can get reinfected, see? And if you got it for another 5 weeks, you go home, you figured you're safe. And you're spitting but just talking, you can never, ever now get away from it. Because even if it's 5 weeks later, your house is still contagious for another 9 days. Your house becomes a petri dish. You're never going to get rid of it. It's horrifying that we don't have anybody to turn to. What we do, we got me. I can keep doing what I'm doing, but it's not right to do it the way I'm doing. It's too difficult. We're struggling all day, every day to do this. I have to dedicate all day, every day for years to do what I'm doing, to keep it up. I always felt I would educate enough people, they would pick up and do what I'm doing, but that didn't happen. Shows you how fucking stupid I actually am. Patients with the new coronavirus keeps the pathogen in their respiratory tracts for as long as 37 days. Remain infectious for weeks. It's the worst possible news. Links below to it. Hospitals may not treat severely. Well, what do you mean may not treat? They're going to save the respirators for governments. If a government or a politician or a celebrity comes to the hospital and they need a respirator, they're going to take you off it. You ain't going to have anybody to fight for you. Nobody. And all you need is one person at least out there that's honest, so that everybody got information they can work with to bludgeon the opposition with, the dumbed down opposition with. Everybody's capable of being enlightened and waking up. I apologize for working myself half to death. New reports claim the UK could adopt training rationing just like Italy if the outbreak continues to worsen. How can it not? According to the scumbag Daily Mail, the government could end up following a survival-based system, meaning frail patients may not get treated to free up spaces for politicians and celebrities. The people who built the country are going to be abandoned. And your media is going to suck you in and disarm you, and you are going to be incapable of understanding facts unless you find someone like me. And someone like me is probably going to get displaced. That's why we need a studio, so we can have a real deal. Publication reports that the patients with a poor prognosis may even be taken off ventilators in favor of those with better survival chances, aka the rich, the wealthy, the politically connected, and the celebrities. They'll just pull you right off that ventilator and stick the celebrity on it and laugh while you perish. You ain't gonna have a single person on this planet to fight for you, period. They've said it right here. And then it's just horrifying what we're looking at. Frail people especially struggle to tolerate being on a ventilator for 2 weeks. It'll take 6 weeks for a frail person to recover. The healthy person is on the ventilator for 2 weeks. Their immune system is the cure. There is no cure. So your immune system, they keep you on a ventilator and let your immune system fight it. And with only a tiny amount of infected that's now starting to explode, they're already out of ventilators and respirators. So what do you really think is going to happen in 7 or 10, 12 days? Then the numbers are going to go skyrocket. And there's not going to be a single descending opinion out there to help educate the population with. They're controlling the narrative every way you look. He also warned that wards are already looking like war zones as the number of cases continue to increase. Yeah, and the hospitals now become big petri dishes permanently. They have to abandon them after a few months. That's what they're doing in China, by the way. Breaking American Got Talent has actually canceled their show today. All the celebrities, if they get sick, they'll take you off ventilator and put Heidi Klum on it in a heartbeat. They won't give a shit about you. They'll put a tag on your toe. They'll tie your feet and hands together while you're dying and put you in a body bag, stick you in a box and let you suffocate. Because that's what they've been doing, right? Honduras orders 2 weeks school closure over coronavirus. Does you really think this is going to be resolved in Honduras with no medical system whatsoever? You really think that they're going to resolve this in 2 weeks' time? Scumbag Yahoo. The Honduran government said on Thursday all schools, public and private, will close for 2 weeks. And the universities. Oh, they'll be closed for the next couple of years. All of them will, worldwide. That's what we're watching happen. Cristiano Ronaldo, it's a famous soccer player who owns a fleet of hotels, is converting the hotels in Portugal into free hospitals. And is going to pay the nurses and the doctors. Amazing. So there's 169 confirmed cases in Portugal. Nobody has died. And yet he is going to sacrifice his hotels and he's going to pay for everything. Because he's not stupid. He knows what's going on. We'll temporarily turn these hotels into hospitals to help fight the coronavirus in his homeland. The facilities will be free of charge for the patients. And he'll personally pick up the tabs to pay the wages of hospitals, doctors, and nurses. There's one of the luxury. And he's self-quarantined himself. The world is going through a very difficult moment, which demands the utmost care and attention from all of us. I speak to you today not as a football player, but as a son, a father, a human being concerned with the latest development that is affecting the whole world. Wait till this gets rampant in India or Pakistan or somewhere in Africa. My heart is broken all day thinking about it. Netflix closes LA building because they suspect a single case. Because they are in the know. We are way behind, but we're catching up. Netflix on Thursday, again, we see this over and over and over, where they suspect somebody might have coronavirus. They shut down their whole operation permanently for weeks, they claim. Of course, as the last 6-7 weeks have showed us, they never open up again. It's planned this way. The company will recommend all of its employees, work from home. The main office is on Sunset Boulevard. Not a nice place to be anymore, obviously. Sunset Boulevard. Ohio man with coronavirus speaks out from the hospital bed. He said he felt like he was dying. Yeah, he felt like every pore in his body was wide open. He was healthy. Philadelphia School District to close 63 schools Friday due to shortage of staff. That's permanent. Once you close it, we know it's permanent. Prime Minister wife, now she doesn't have it, but they're claiming she has it, so she doesn't have to get out there and do the meet and greets and shake hands, right? And then Trudeau, this is just a cover story. They don't actually have it, and if you do have it, my apologies. But typically, you expect this is how it will play out, where governments will quarantine themselves to get away from everybody to maintain their so-called government, right? BC doctor warned against non-essential travel and to ban large gatherings out in British Columbia. Amazing. 250 people or more have been banned. Amazing. So they're giving up on when you do that, you basically give up on your county, country, province, etc., etc. Kuwaiti is quarantined banknotes for 4 weeks. Not 14 days, but 4 weeks. 30 days, because they know better. That's the right thing to do. It's going to isolate the banknotes for 4 weeks before recirculating them. Belgium, they're probably going to get rid of cash at this stage. Worldwide. Belgium, because it carries the disease for extended periods. Like everything about this seems like a setup to exterminate a large population of the planet. And it's going to last for a very long time and has incredibly brutal attributes. And then they censor the shit out of me because I'm having a conversation. Really. Just revolting. It's revolting what they're doing to me. Belgium closes the schools, bars, and everything else at the same time, right? They don't just do one. They always start off with one or two the media will tell you about. Then the next report was they actually closed down everything. Because you can't just close down a couple without everybody else. It's idiotic to even conceive it, see? There is no fun. Your government was people you hired not to be monsters. So then when you see all the talk shows, not just with no audiences, but actually shutting down. Symmetrically, right across the board, all the sports shutting down, all the universities shutting down, all the government agencies shutting down permanently. We are in very dark times. And who gives a shit if they disappear? But what it is, it's evidence that they're in the know, otherwise they would never shut down. Mass graves from Iranian coronavirus victims seen from space. Where was that when China was in the news all the time? Where did China go? How come China's not in the news? They still got 760 million locked down. Google asks its Bangalore office employees to work home after one tested coronavirus positive. So these big corporations get a single case and they shut down their entire operation of thousands of people. In Google's case, North America was 100,000 to work from home. And then censor Dana Durnford because there is no competition for someone like me. Because there is no one else there doing what I'm doing. We can confirm, and I've been doing this for years, an employee had been diagnosed. He was in one of the offices a few hours before developing any symptoms. He's been on quarantine. Out of abundance of caution, they're going to shut down their offices. Corporations don't do that, okay? They have charters that don't let them do stuff like this. They're doing this because they have to. It's disgusting how everybody is being deceived and manipulated. Of the 100, they say look up to 100,000 people in Ohio could be carrying coronavirus. Unbelievable. And this stuff is cherry-picked. Like I'm doing the 1 hour cycle. Every hour I check it 3 or 4 or 5 times. All day, every day that I'm awake. And then when you check the 24-hour cycle, the majority of what I'm showing you doesn't show up. So if I don't go find it and grab it and document it, there's literally zero possibility somebody else did. I don't understand it. Why people are not being honest and responsible when we live in a society where we could actually do that. All mass gatherings exceeding 100 people are cancelled. Public schools will be closed for the next 3 weeks, and private. Do you really think they're going to open it in 3 weeks? This is not even this pandemic, and this is a pandemic now of just incredible proportions. It's not even in the beginning stage, and we already overwhelmed everybody's hospitals and healthcare systems and ability to deal with anything. They don't even have a cure, and there's no cure in sight. Zero cure. And for all of these, there's never been a cure. 100,000 people from Ohio, they call them Ohioans, arrogant, disgusting media, may already be carrying the infections. They treat them like they're a number, like they're a bean. Up to 150 Americans could be infected with the coronavirus, top doctors believe. So now they're saying 150 could be infected. Million. It's absurd. It's absurd. And we're not being warned? Oh, just go lock yourself in the home. Don't come out or you go to jail. Future sporting events the coronavirus pandemic could still cancel or postpone. Who gives a shit about sports? Really? Who cares? Bellator 241 was cancelled. That was the right thing to do, by the way. Sweaty people kicking and punching and spitting on each other, and the crowds. That's not a petri dish at all. No, not at all, Dana. UFC went ahead last night with no audience. Unbelievable. Local and mayor elections postponed a year over coronavirus in UK. Boris Johnson has taken the decision because the polls would be coincided with the peak of the outbreak. Peak of the outbreak is not going to be here for another year or two. This is just going to keep going up. The infection never goes away when you get it. Sky's like a media deputy political editor. So you work for a company and they call you a deputy political editor. You know that company is nothing but evil. A government spokesperson woman says, like they like doing it with the women, we bring forward legislation to postpone local, mayor, and police and crime commissioners' elections until May of next year. We also work with administrations to ensure they have the necessary powers to do the same. So beyond your back, they now, without going through constitutions or their case Magna Cartas, and in North America it's Bill of Rights and constitutions, because we have a pandemic, they can supersede now. We're in martial law. As it stands, there's 798 confirmed cases, and they're going to take away everybody's freedom. They increase to 208, but they don't even have the kits to find out. Millions of Brits will need to contract coronavirus in order to control the impact. So they think that if everybody gets infected, you'll build up an immunity for it. This is what they call a herd immunity, is what they're talking about. But it's not going to work in this kind of an event. This is obviously not a natural event. This is an act of war against the entire planet. Brazilian Commission not testing UFC. So the UFC fighters, by the way, were in Brazil last night. They followed them around for days to see if they had symptoms, but they didn't test them. Cheap, disgusting parasites. Just disgusting. Cheap, miserable dogs. Mayor Frank Jackson says the city will cease water and power cutoffs. We're seeing that over and over and over in different cities where they're going to turn water back on so people can wash their hands. See? By allowing hand washing. This is unprecedented. Every one of these stories is unprecedented, every single one of them. DWSD starts restoring water service in Detroit. So there's quite a few counties, I noticed, in the United States have done that in the last couple of days. And sewage department started restoring water services to Detroit residents. Trump declares coronavirus a national emergency, which frees up $50 billion in funds. I didn't know there was that sitting around. So you can see why there was a lot of media pushing them, because they wanted their chunk out of the pie. Not because they care about you, because they don't. I'm reading it all day, every day. They actually absolutely hate your guts. That's what your American media and worldwide, Canadian included, hate our guts. I can't find anybody being honest. Little tidbits here and there that I can utilize, but they're disgusting medias. New York Times, the scum of the Scum Associate Press has closed their DC office after a journalist shows some symptoms, which could be coughing or a fever. You got a dry hack, that they want you to quarantine yourself. This is unprecedented. This is unbelievable what we're looking at. This is unimaginable. Associated Press pulled the plug on their major office. Somebody showed some symptoms, no guarantee. And then bottle returns, which a lot of people are dependent upon to make ends meet, they're going to suspend that. Can't blame them. You got all these people spitting and drinking from the bottles, and then the workers are getting minimum wage who are dealing with it, gets infected. It's just horrifying, every facet of these stories. Then you got rappers are out there, and lots of other people are still putting on their shows, and they know better. But there's just no intelligence, right? They're not getting paid because they're smart. They're getting paid because they keep people stupid. Getting some backlash because he wouldn't stop the concert. San Francisco got the word, and empty streets for the most part. San Francisco. And all events over 1,000 are banned. Give it a few days, all events. Work from home orders, including the likes of, they always put these like rappers and celebrities and over, Twitter, Facebook, Google, Apple, they got more rights than all humans combined, I noticed. They're better than everybody is what I notice. They're treated like gods. And then the only honest person out there is me right now, providing the documentation. I don't hide away from anybody. I always provide who I am. I'm always open. Spain declares state of emergency as death toll rises to 120. So 120 people die, and then you have a state of an emergency. None of this makes any sense. It allows authority to confine infected people and ration goods. By declaring an emergency, now they can ration. Well, they can steal what they want, right? Because they're in control of it. And that's exactly what's going on. They're delaying everything so they can steal it first. And who's gonna censor those, or who's gonna audit those scumbags? Really, they do it to themselves, right? So no one's gonna hold them accountable. You never hired them to do any of that. It's just the truth can set everybody free. It's as simple as that. Oh, Canadian government suspends Parliament. And they call it a rare display of unity. Really. And a rare display of self-centered, egotistic Thai outbreak caused by friends sharing cigarettes and a drink in Thailand. Sharing cigarettes and a drink got everybody sick in the country now coming up. Orlando police are taking extra steps. Of course, you know what that means. They're not going to be going to property crimes or harassments or nothing. You can call them on the phone. They'll get back to you when they get back to you. South Korea sees coronavirus slow down without a lockdown. So this is the disgusting parasite at Forbes. They locked down 2.5 million, just one community. They locked down another 500,000 in another community. They locked down 400,000 soldiers, Korean soldiers. And here's them after saying they didn't lock down anybody and there was a slowdown. So they want stocks to go up, right? Just hang on a second. New Zealand, Australian tightens lockdown to combat coronavirus. Tightens lockdown. Australia tightens it. And New Zealand. Do you get it? They're already in lockdown, right? Duke Energy is not going to be cutting off any services. When have we ever heard tell of anything like this? Google's going to be paying paid leaves to employees can't work because of coronavirus. And the money that they're going to pay, is the money they didn't pay in taxes by having this fictional corporate personhood. They put all the taxes in offshore accounts. Their money goes to offshore accounts. They don't pay state, federal, local taxes. And then they censor people like the rare people like me. And then we raised 400 towards the studio. Thank you, by the way, everybody. But we're running out of time. So they're just going to censor the daylight out of me, because that's all they do. They turn on the censor, they walk away. 50 million travel jobs, unless people share me everywhere, unless people give a shit, then it won't matter, will it? 50 million travel jobs at risk. 50 million. Well, they're not at risk, they're done. Hospitals may not treat severely ill coronavirus patients if the case surges. No. Surges, they're not even started and they haven't got enough respirators. All you need is another couple of days and the hospitals will be so overwhelmed. Within a week, nobody will be able to get near a hospital worldwide. New York reports 96 new cases, now the most in the nation. And what did I cover on Thursday or Friday, or Wednesday or Thursday? New York, it's going to take about 3 weeks for the numbers to get up to 100. Now the numbers today was over 700 or something. By the way, 421 are hospitalized. And just a few days ago, no, it'll be like 3 weeks before we get to 100. They're too busy out buying all the toilet paper and all the generators and all the supplies with government credit cards. China has reportedly discharged cases are falling sick again. After a 36-year-old died days after being allowed to leave the hospital. They're just kicking them loose because the hospitals are big petri dishes, see? The governor said he expected the number of confirmed cases to continue to rise as testing becomes more widespread and available. He cautioned that the increased numbers of positive cases doesn't necessarily mean New York is seeing a surge. There's going to be everywhere. My guess is there are thousands and thousands of cases walking around New York. Yeah? And Wednesday he was saying it'll take 3 weeks before it get to 100. Can't make up their mind because they're too busy lying. Can't remember the last lie. And New York is able to control its own testing. They're giving up on you, look. They're only going to help the celebrities and the wealthy and the politically connected, and everybody else can be damned. And you're not going to have a single voice to speak for you. I'll do my best, no matter what happens. I'll be doing my best. I'm extremely vulnerable, unfortunately. I've just spent the last who knows how many years sacrificing every moment of every day for a better way. Coronavirus shuts down all public schools in Pennsylvania. Yeah, and that's going to be permanent. You might never see a school open again at the rate this thing is going. And the only good news was a casino was shut. Casinos is where 2% of the population come out with more money than they went in with. 2%. They're meant to steal your money. And good people that work there, they're outstanding people that are desperate for a job and pay their bills. But the casino itself, literally the most evilest thing you can imagine. Truly the most evilest people. They've robbed 98 out of every 100 people that walk through the door. They rob them intentionally. How do you think they can afford to offer free flights and hotel rooms and meals and drinks? How do you think it works? Iran state TV said coronavirus killed another 97. But they don't have the kits to test. Who cares what they say? Because we know they're lying. Everybody else is infected, and the media and the government has destroyed them. They have no ability to protect themselves. Apple reportedly opening, listen to this, all stores in China. Oh, no. Apple's closing all stores outside of China. They're going to open all stores in China, but close all stores outside of China. You get what's going on here? The left doesn't know the lies that the right are saying, see? Political, Tokyo Olympics will go ahead, says Shinzo Abe. Truly one of the worst humans. Like, he makes Mao and Pol Pot and Hitler look like schoolyard bullies. Freak of nature Shinzo Abe added the International Scum Olympic Committee, IOSC, would have the final decision whether Tokyo 2020 goes ahead. The left doesn't know what the right's doing. They're so busy setting up for the next year for themselves, stealing everything from themselves. We will overcome the spread of infection and host Olympics without problems, says the weirdest, disgusting parasite I've ever come across, Shinzo Abe. You're going to overcome the spread of the infection, are you? Like you overcame the ongoing nuclear meltdowns in Fukushima? And there's no justice system whatsoever will touch them. Because it's all been taken over by morons, inbreeds. School closures of eight weeks or more may better mitigate coronavirus spread, CDC says. Because they're saying, 2 weeks. Everybody knows this is not going to be 2 weeks. Everybody knows this is for infinity by the looks of it. We can't get a straight answer, and anybody with a head on their shoulder is censored. I can't believe you got me censored. Like they're destroying their own family by stopping dissent. Why so desperate to shut me up, I wonder? Amsterdam coronavirus patient tally increasing quickly. 44% of the cases is in a major city. All the triathlons, the body suspended all events. Good. Take all that money you're not going to spend and donate it to me so I can go to war for you. Nobody else is. I must be insane to even say that, right? Because the minute I go to war, you know what's going to happen? They're going to attack me like they've been doing nonstop. I'm a sucker for punishment. That's what I am. Las Vegas, poor Steve is in Las Vegas, to shutter poker rooms, sports books, spas, and salons. Everything else follows. The minute you start doing anything in that anywhere, everything else follows immediately. Here in Canada, Winnipeg is closing libraries, pools, rec centers, etc., etc. Everything else follows within a few days. Avista will stop utility cutoffs in Washington, Idaho, and Oregon. So they're going to lock everybody up in their homes. Everything we're seeing in the next 7 to 12 days, this entire planet, is going to be locked down in your homes. And then what? We gotta depend upon the inbreeds now to meter out rations till we all just perish in our homes, with no dissenting opinions out there to hold anybody accountable. Manitoba is now going to go do the same thing as Winnipeg. That's about Canada, by the way. France is closing down everything. France got a shitload of nuclear power plants. What happens when a bunch of the people get sick there? Are they going to be like Google and send everybody home? France will shut shops, and they can melt down in 50 minutes after losing power and destroy your country on top of that, and oceans. France will shut shops, restaurants, entertainment facilities starting midnight tonight, their time. 91 dead in France, 4,500 infected. There goes the entire country. We must absolutely limit our movements. So the future is what? Every time we have a fucking flu show up, the whole planet's going to lock down? Or is it just this one? This one, what they're up to is just revolting. Most impoverished countries in the world are shutting all their schools. I think it's 490 million or something children now are permanently out of school. Yeah, 420 million children. Italy's coronavirus death toll passes 1,000. Their chief medical officer dies of it. We hear this over and over and over, these versions. The chief medical officer can't take care of himself, can't get a respirator. I'm just heartbroken that there's so much media out there willing, you're not seeing it because I'm not showing it to you, but there's so much media out there stabbing you in the back. I'm only trying to inform you. If I go down that road, I'll be screaming for the whole show. Chief medical officer dies. It just doesn't seem real that someone in that position, they can't save them. Respiratory failure. Everyone who will get the Australian $750 coronavirus package in Australia, and then they'll steal $750,000 for each one of them at the top of the food chain. Greek police have arrested 45 people across the country. It's actually up to 90 for keeping shops open. According to the statement, the 45 offend, which is now up to 90, were for operating premises. And they can face 3 to 5 years in jail for opening up their shop. We're seeing this similar worldwide, incredible. Comcast, which was one of the most hated companies on the planet a few years ago, by the way, that was a vote, right? Offering free Wi-Fi and postponing service cutoffs during the crisis. All the big corporations now have all of a sudden become good guys. You get water, keep your water on, keep your light and power on. You got free cable and net internet everywhere you go. Most French ICU patients with virus, most people in intensive care unit are under 60 years of age. And it's just starting. More than half the 300 people in France's intensive care units, intensive care means you're on a respirator, ventilator, and they're hoping your immune system is going to solve the issue. But as we've seen at the beginning, the study shows even 5 weeks later after your discharge, that thing is still destroying all the cells in your lungs, and you're still shedding the virus everywhere. How China set forth the global coronavirus crisis into motion. Yeah, China hit it. Right? China hit it. Must have skipped a bit here. Hang on. Yeah, there we are. Back on track. Greece, Comcast, ICU patients. Spain got 1,500 new coronaviruses today. That's incredible numbers. And in reality, that's frig up because this is just starting to explode and they're already overwhelmed. Steve's Burger to offer free meals to families in need during the coronavirus outbreak. Amazing, eh? North Jersey. I don't know if that's where it's to. So ask for a cheeseburger special with love. You get cheeseburger or hot dog special with love. That's the code words. And it comes with fries and a drink. Amazing. Some amazing people out there. But it ain't Google, it ain't Facebook, it ain't Twitter, I can guarantee you. Tokyo Olympics may be pushed back to 2022. That's not pushed back, that's pushed forward. Stupid. Speaking of stupid, Bill Mayer's host final real time before show goes dark. This is really interesting. Why is all these TV hosts shutting their shows down and disappearing? Why are all kinds of prime ministers and everybody doing the same thing. I wonder what's going to happen in the next week or 2 weeks that could possibly motivate them to do something like this. It's just like we're dealing with an alien invasion on the planet. This is what this is like, right? Same kind of reaction. It's completely disproportionate for what they're claiming. But when you go through the subtleties like I do, you can see what's really going on. And so we're at this moment in history, aren't we? We're at this pinnacle. Not reporting coronavirus signs in India could lead to jail. And Prime Minister of Spain tests positive. Watch, he'll go into quarantine too, right? That's how they disappear, see? In Japan, infections rises. Now they're double what they were when they had the cruise ship there. So they're completely out of control. New York City empties out in the face of coronavirus. Trains are empty. Supermarkets are empty. Airport, JFK Airport is empty. All the shops are being just cleaned. Malls are empty. Buses and subways and everything are empty is what they're claiming. Quebec orders Canada, so we've seen earlier Manitoba, then Winnipeg, now Quebec orders bars, movies, and theaters to close. That's which is their whole life, right? Bars, there's a liquor store on every corner in Quebec. Every street corner has a liquor store. And there's many more on the street, but every single corner has a liquor store. Limit going outdoors, they say. We should only go to work, buy bread. Really? Buy bread? I don't even eat bread. Go to the pharmacy, get health care, take a walk, or go help people age 70 years of age and up. Some of the most extraordinary, unimaginably extraordinary statements. That somebody had told me this a few months ago. I literally would have a hard time wrapping my mind around it. Now I don't. The number of confirmed cases has jumped dramatically in Quebec. Yeah, dramatically. So they have 39 cases in Quebec. They're shutting down the whole province. And that's one of the biggest provinces in Canada. That's 25% of the population of Canada. 39 cases, let's shut her down. This is something we definitely, unequivocally, should be worried about, shouldn't we? Hospitals may only treat patients most likely to survive. No, they'll pull you off the respirator as soon as any celebrity or politician or wealthy person needs the chair, right? That's a fact. And China has managed to get itself out of the news cycle. Not just the great firewall of China, but China has managed to get itself. Everybody, just random stories like this might show up, but very few mentions China, I noticed, in the last 2 weeks. We got no time to waste. And so I'm going to do the best I can. But it's best if 1,000 people donated $100 each. Links are below. In the next number of days, and I can get a place to permanently come out and do what I'm doing. It'll get better. We've been at this for years, but we'll get it together. And we are running out of time. There's no maybes about this. I can't find anything that suggests this is going to slow down. All I see is what I showed you tonight. 39 people closed down the entire province for Quebec. Every country is doing the exact same thing. All celebrities are now they're slipping out of public views. And then they're censoring the people like me, which there's not really anybody like me out there. I'm not bragging, I'm just saying. I don't know, maybe I'm stupid for wanting to do something good. Maybe I'm the fucking idiot for trying to do something cool by being honest. It might not seem like a lot to anybody, but it's an absurd amount of work to find all this information and then to do these shows. Worked so hard for so many years to put this whole operation together. And now we see the planet on the very crux of a major permanent disruption to all life. We're seeing just every facet of everybody's life living in your home. This is like a really bad Netflix movie, yeah? Netflix must be so jealous they didn't come up with this plot. You know what I'm saying, right? This is the weirdest, most bizarre story in human history. And the planet deserves somebody to tell it properly. And that's what I do. If I was given the chance, I can do such a good job, such a better job. And I like to do it permanently. I like to be the big thorn and this disgusting parasite's side that is controlling any opposition. We're capable of it. It's not a big stretch to ask 1,000 people to donate $100 each so we can have a permanent building. Because right now, we're running and just literally nothing. I have a little tiny pension that pays the bills, and that's not enough to do anything extra. And so I have to use that to maintain this with the donations that I managed to raise. It's been a long struggle for many years, yeah? And we go do incredible research expeditions. We've done so much and such for so long. All we want is the world to be better. All we want is the world to have a future. It's all we ever... We're unique. We want the world to be a better place, and we're trying. We're doing it by education. We're doing it the hardest way possible, I guess, because there's no other way to do it. So every day is a sacrifice, and I thank all of those who've stood alongside of me. And I hope that things go well for you, but I'm fearful, and I believe that having an informed population is the best way to beat all the evil. Then I have no choice but to continue to do what I'm doing, and hopefully I can do it better. If not, we'll just keep doing the best we can, right? God bless everybody. This story is just beginning, so it ain't going to get any better. It's definitely going to get worse. So brace yourself, do the best you can, and we'll see everybody next time. God bless everybody. Hugs for everybody. Take care.